So, Tebow time. Over. And I feel like I'm the only guy who's like fair. All right? Fair. I don't have to say if I'm being honest. I'm always honest with you. When Tim Tebow was leading the Broncos to the playoffs, at the time I was seen as a Tebow hater. Tebow hater. Well, I wasn't a Tebow hater. I was just a realist. It was not a sustainable way of playing football. What's interesting about it is Josh McDaniels gets crucified for selecting Tebow, and I guess rightfully so. But I think Josh McDaniels, what he had in mind, we've seen play out with Colin Kaepernick and maybe even more so with Lamar Jackson, right? These guys that can run the college-style read option offense, but now you have to have the ability to throw the football like a pro. Those guys with the evolving world of football, they can work. Shorten the game, play to the defense, play to the kicking game, and for a short period of time. But I was, at the time, this is, again, I know exactly when it was. I don't even have to look at a calendar. I know it was the fall of 2011. It was 10 years ago when they were 1-4, and they were playing the Miami Dolphins, and the game was over, and he was awful. And they scored late against the prevent defense, and then they recovered an onside kick and somehow scored again and won the game. And with every week, there was some bump in the night thing. They're playing the Bears, and the Bears are actually pretty good. And, okay, help me out here, guys. Running back, I think it was Barber, Marion Barber. Marion Barber didn't go out of bounds, jumped out of bounds instead of staying in bounds to make the clock run. And so Tebow got the ball back, and they won that game, but they won it in many ways because of operator error, and he just stayed in bounds. The clock would have run out, and they wouldn't have had time to move the ball down the football field and win. Heck, Dick LeBeau got fired and he was a great defensive coordinator because how they misplayed not just the Broncos, but the last play against the Broncos where they lost in overtime. They only beat one playoff team the entire run when they won those games. Played the Patriots and got embarrassed, not once, but twice. He couldn't move it against good teams. And so now we look back and we're like, well, he sucked. Well, okay, he wasn't a good quarterback, but he found a way, and there was some sort of magical aura to it. Like, I can't believe it was like one of those, like, I can't believe. Here's the best one. If you're a fan of a bad sports team, and like as a fan of the Chargers, it's almost comical to watch. How are they going to lose this week, right? There's got to be a team that you like that is a perennial losing team. You're like, how are they going to lose this week? They just find a way to lose games they should rightfully win. You know the type of team I'm talking about? Good. The Broncos were the opposite for those 2 months. They would find a way to win games they had no right to win. That's after that, I mean, like, look, the Broncos moved on, and nobody really questioned it outside of Tebow fans. They brought in Peyton Manning, and he immediately threw 50 touchdown passes. That's what happened. Then he went to between the Jets and New England and Philly, and he wasn't good enough. He went to baseball, and he couldn't make it. Now he came back as a tight end. Here's his college head coach, who's now was his NFL head coach till he was cut today, on how tough it was to cut Tim.
It was tough, but we knew that was an uphill battle for Tim, and players loved him, locker room loved him, but it was the right thing.
Is this the end of the road for Tim? NFL, professional football?
I would guess it is. We didn't get that deep with it. Obviously, he's his own man. Elite warrior, elite competitor, but he's also 34 years old.
Look, the blocking was bad. Here's the other part that was bad.
This whole roster management is really critical as we journey here into the next 2 weeks. Offensive players that, two of the special teams phases are tackling. And if you never tackle, that's what I found myself, and I still find myself, all of us. You know, every off day we'll have a 2 to 3 hour meeting about roster management, and it comes down because we expect to be very good in special teams. And tight end position is one of those, and tailback. If you can't contribute on special teams, that's a tough go.
So there's actually some key kind of words of wisdom there, and this is. So I coach youth basketball. I have a travel program, and I tell kids all the time, like, look, we all work on individual moves and getting your own shot or whatever, but if you can't defend your position, and if you can't be on offense without turning the ball over, when you're a freshman or you're a sophomore, you're never going to get a chance, high school, college, early in your NBA career. You don't get a chance to play meaningful minutes. May not get a chance to play at all. Can't guard anybody. And it's interesting, like running backs, ask any running back. They'll tell you, like, your whole life, all you concern yourself with is getting the ball and what I do when I get the ball. But what actually gets you on the team and then gets you on the field is special teams. And special teams and, frankly, pass protection. If you can't do pass pro and you can't do special teams, you're not going to make a team. Especially when you're the third or fourth or fifth at your position. I'm not sure I truly understand the negativity towards Tebow. Maybe it's that there was the uncomfortableness for some of his deep religious faith. Kneeling over a moment in prayer. He was criticized for it, drawing attention to himself. Tebowing is what it was called. But look, end of the day, if you can win football games, even though you can't throw a spiral, if the worst thing you do is give too much thanks to the good Lord above, like, these aren't really sinister things. They're just not. It's far bigger problems in the world. And to the people who are in media, Rob Parker said this the other day to me on Dan Patrick, and Stephen A. Smith doubled down on it today on his TV show. To the people who say that he got a chance because of white privilege, you're embarrassing yourself. You're embarrassing yourself. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that there are professions or times and places where being of whatever race could help you. It absolutely has. And in our country, there have been times in which I'm sure there have been, there's been white privilege. But the idea of Tim Tebow only getting an opportunity, like, that's blind to all the facts that are staring you in the face. It just is. In the NFL, generally, you follow guys who believe in you, who you had success with. Right? I mean, who is the Detroit Lions general manager? Okay. Who is it? Right, his name is Brad Holmes. Brad Holmes was formerly a scout, the head of scouting with the LA Rams. Okay. So Brad Holmes was the one responsible for drafting Jared Goff. Who does Jared Goff? They had to find a home for Jared Goff to trade him. They traded him to Brad Holmes, a guy who believes in him. And you can say whatever you want to say about Jared Goff, and the comeback is, you're right, only Jared Goff got to the playoffs and went to a Super Bowl and played really well in the NFC Championship game. Everybody focuses on the missed pass interference call, like the Rams got the football in overtime and scored where the Saints could not. Drew Brees got the ball back. Drew Brees had plenty of opportunities to win that game. Drew Brees was the one who misfired on first down. That was a third down play. But why do guys get opportunities? Because somebody believes in them. Somebody believes in them. Right? Greg Roman believed in Colin Kaepernick. That's why Colin Kaepernick was going to become a Baltimore Raven. Why didn't it happen? Because Kaepernick's girlfriend had a meme which likened Steve Bisciotti, was the owner of the Ravens, to the slave owner from Django Unchained. And they were like, yeah, that's not going to happen. Like, it has nothing to do with white privilege, black privilege. Like, in business, in life, when you've had success with somebody who believes in you, they'll do you a solid. They'll do you a favor. Hey, man, listen, I know tight end's not really my jam, but coach, I just want a shot. Okay. And we're not going to pay anything. We do league minimum deal. Like, okay, no, I just want a shot. Got a shot? Not good enough, Timmy. Sorry, man, it's not going to work out. Okay, so we move on. That's not white privilege. That's business. That's how it all works. Anyone saying otherwise is being completely and totally disingenuous to the point where if you want to point out a place where racial prejudice or profiling does exist, we won't take you seriously. I can't take Stephen A. anything he says seriously because, he and Jalen blowing the race whistle all the time over things that don't happen. When you have sweat equity with somebody, you say, hey, man, I need a favor. Hey, take care of your boy. You ever heard somebody say, take care of the boys? Of course you do. You take care of your boys. That's what people do. It has nothing to do with what race they are. It has to do with, I've been in the foxhole with that guy, and I love competing with that guy. Hell yeah, I'll give him a chance. What the heck? What do I have to lose by it? Nothing. Zero was lost. Except for the respect that most people have for pundits who then call out some racism component that doesn't actually exist. Doesn't actually exist. Anyway. All right, there's a lot we want to get to still on the show. Doug Gottlieb Show here on Fox Sports Radio. I was there. I watched it. I remember. The Tebow time thing made no sense at all, which made it even more glorious. There were people following, oh, yeah, he's a great quarterback. Like, no, he's not. He was not, is not, will never be a great quarterback. But somehow they figured out a way to magically make it work.